All right, guys. Hey, welcome to episode 54 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Guys, we've got a lot of stuff to discuss. We're breaking big news tonight. I'm so excited about this. We're also going to be talking to the Southeast Gassers Association owner, Leslie Horne. We're asking Jonathan Stonecipher, our naturally aspirated guy, what he would build to run 12s and how many tracks will be visited by a Dragon Drive in 2024. This is going to be a great night. I hope you're ready for this. Eric, if you hit that intro video, let's get this thing kicked off, man.
All right, let's do it.
We're going to pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
All right, guys, let's kick this thing off. Well, if you don't know, my name is Mike Narks, and I'm the host of the Drag Drive Repeat show that you're watching now and the Drag Drive Repeat news, which happens on Saturday mornings. I'm also the host of the circuit presented by Summit Racing. All of that stuff right there, guys. Let's say busy. Let's get down to it. Eric, introduce yourself. Tell them what you got going on, and let's get to this thing, man.
All right, my name's Eric White. I help everything Drag Drive Repeat, co-host the show and the news, do artwork, do video editing, photo editing, help put the notes together on the show. Literally, whatever needs to be done here, I'm here to help with. And then outside of that, I run my channel, which is 815 LSX Swaps.
Yeah, and guys, listen, Eric worked right up until after we got this thing started. I saw him working while we were back there. Well, guys, we can't do this without you. We can't do this without your support. Thank you so much for being our race car friend. It's a big deal. We are nearing 100,000 total followers across all of social media. It's absolutely insane to think that there's that many people out there that follow us, and we can't say thank you enough for that. And there's something fun and big that's coming for you race car friends that are out there. And guys, thank you so much to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, Performer Built Transmissions, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, and our newest partner, PowerTube TV. Love all of those. Say thank you to everybody that is part of this program this evening and for all the time. I'm telling you, it's a good time we're going to have tonight. And to kick off the show, I guess I don't know if you know this or not, but Summit Racing Speed Legacy started back in 1968. One man operation. Love that origin story. Now it's the world's speed shop. 4 huge warehouse facilities across the country, 200 plus catalog editions, fueling your passion. They save you money, deliver fast, and offer top notch customer service. In 2014, they launched the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. Find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Be watching our buddy Justin over there. Also, you can tune into the On All Cylinders podcast, which dropped a new one the other day for more automotive discussions like what you're hearing here. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. All right, you ready? Let's kick this thing off with some event updates from our buddies at Driven Racing Oil. A lot of stuff going on. This segment here is going to be a little bigger than what it normally is because I kind of went a little ham last night. I was up really late till probably about 1:30. And once you get in that roll of stuff, dude, you know how it is. You just kind of like, oh, this is a cool thing. This is a cool
Yeah.
thing. So
Yep.
why don't you give us the rundown there, the ad read for Driven Racing Oil, and we can talk about some of these events.
Yes, sir. Why gamble with performance or protection when you get proven results from Driven Racing Oil? Trusted by top engine builders, winning racers, and devoted horsepower enthusiasts around the world. Driven takes legendary base oils such as the ones from Bradford, Pennsylvania, which comprise their GP1 line. Then Driven boosts that superior base with state-of-the-art additive packages. Driven GP1 Nitro 70 not only provides anti-wear protection, but can even shield cylinders from washout and fuel dilution caused by using methanol or nitro-based fuels. Learn more about Driven Racing Oil by following them on Facebook and Instagram at Driven Racing Oil, or shop now at drivenracingoil.com.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'll tell you, I'm really sad that I'm not going to see the Driven Racing Oil guys this weekend at Texas 2K, and we're going to tell that story here in just a minute. But let's first talk about events that are coming up in the U.S. Obviously, dude, 3 days from now,
Yep.
the Central Georgia Battle of the Streets happens. Starts on the 16th. I can't wait to see the results from this. I can't wait to see the car count. I can't wait to see some of the cars that are coming to this. Again, one of the first times that, or this is the first time Mike Mayo has hosted a drag and drive event, but not the first time he's visited. We actually got to meet him at South Georgia Motorsports Park during SICK Week. Super cool guy, a lot of ideas. He said, let me get through this first one. Let me have a successful first event. And then he said, then we'll really turn it up and go on to the next one. So I'm excited about that. We've got another couple days till Carolina Drag Cruise. That is April 5th through 7th, or 4th through 7th. They're in the Carolinas, obviously, that's what they call it. But you got 3 days of racing here. You got a full 150-mile drive that they're going to do on the drive day, I guess is what we're going to call that. But it's really kind of cool. Starts at a wing stop or wing. I don't remember what the name was. We went over it last week.
Yeah, wings, etc., or etc.
Yep. So going to be there. And then, so everybody's going to, meet up there in the morning, make the drive. It's a convoy, which I always really like, because that means as you're driving through these small towns and through all these stops and things like that, people begin to notice, hey, wait, there's one cool car. There's 3 cool cars. What is going on? They begin to ask questions. So, of course, we're going to talk about my trip in the circuit in a little bit, but that's the next step. Now, these are U.S. events. We have some Australian events coming up as well. But the circuit, dude, April 18th through the 21st.
It's coming quick.
How many times a day do I message you talking about the circuit? It's at least once every day, and it's on my mind all day, every day, guys. I cannot stop thinking about this. This is going to be an event, I don't know, for the ages, man. I'm telling you, the people that are going to be at this event are going to talk about this for a very, very long time. We're going to have a ton of fun, and I'm going to tell you what I did last weekend here in just a second. So we got the circuit coming up. And then we've got King of the Open Road the next weekend, April 26th through 28th at Oklahoma City or Thunder Valley Raceway Park. This is an event I love. We had Jared on a couple weeks ago. And dude, remember when he was talking, he's like calling all the cities that they're going to be driving through, all the interesting stuff that they got going on, the coins.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really fun event. This is set up a little different. You actually make the drive on Friday and then race heads up style Saturday and Sunday with qualifying and all that, like a normal race, right? They also have a big car show, but they do roll racing, which I don't know of any other drag and drive event that does roll racing.
No, I don't think there is one.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So this is really a big party with a big drive included in it. So I was hoping I was going to be able to go to this event, but I'm going to tell you why I can't here in just a little bit.
Yep.
And then Cruise and Lose, this is kind of up by you a little bit. I wish it was a little closer to you, because, man, you could maybe make one of the days work. This is also April 26th through 28th. This is I-29, and I don't remember what the second track is, but you'll unload. This is becoming a new theme for the weekend events. Unload at the first track. Don't race at the first track. Drive to the second track, make your passes, and then come back. So you get 2 different race tracks to set your average and all that kind of stuff. Cruise and Lose is set up like a traditional drag and drive event, where it's going to be your your times are going to set your average, and then that's going to depend on what everything sets up. So for your standings and things like that. All right, so that's all of the U.S. events that are coming up. Now that gets us through the end of April, which, when you're watching this, that's 6 weeks from now.
Right.
There's all those events in 6 weeks. And then Australian events, this is kind of cool. The Hard S1000 is also next week, begins March 18th. Dude,
these guys can't wait to see updates on this event.
Well, and they've got a daily video that's going to hit Hall Ass Garage throughout the entire event. They've got 2 drive days, because they are going to show so many different parts of the country of Australia that they're racing at. So they're in like
Right.
the southeast part of the country. This should be pretty neat to see it come through. And you can follow updates on this from Haul Ass Garage. We'll also be sharing a lot of their stuff on our pages. Wherever you're watching this, you can see all that as well. And then they're going to do, I don't know, I wouldn't say hourly, but they're going to do a lot of updates on their Facebook page as well. So Haul Ass Garage on Facebook and YouTube. You can see the Hard Ass 1000, which is their event, and these guys have raced several times at Hot Rod Drag Week, so they have a
Hmm.
lot of experience competing. This will be the first time that they've hosted a drag and drive event, so pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Can't
Yeah,
wait to see all the updates and photos and everything coming out of that one. It's going to be pretty cool.
yeah, that's exactly right. And then we've got the Road Trip Drag Challenge. I mean, just 2 weeks or 3 weeks after that, early April, I think, yeah, April 5th through 7th. So again, we're coming up on a situation where we're racing. We have two different drag and drive events at the end of March, or sorry, the end of April in the US. And now we have April 5th through 7th is going to be Carolina Drag Cruise here in the States and Road Trip Drag Challenge in Australia. So, I mean,
Yep.
dude, like we said last year, this happened several times last year. The world is being taken over by drag and drive, man, and I absolutely love it. So, good luck to Mick and the team that runs Road Trip Drag Challenge. And this will be at Warwick Dragway in Australia, and this is kind of a neat deal. So, they actually have racing in the morning. So, you have a Group A and Group B, and so Group A will race in the morning, drive in the afternoon. Group B races in the afternoon, but makes their trips in the morning. Big
Yeah.
party on Saturday night, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yep. Yeah, we got to get down for one of these, and maybe we spend a month in Australia and just hit a couple of these. You think your wife let you do that? Mine probably would be like, get out of here.
It'd be a
But
lot of fun though, for sure.
oh, for sure. And then the same weekend as the circuit, our buddy Dave Curtis over at Central Victorian Drag and Drive is hosting his event in Australia. So we'll have literally people competing here in the States and then people competing in Australia at the same time. So we may have to do some kind of fun deal. Maybe we let's look through their classes and let's put out a challenge between our racers and their racers and see what we
Okay.
can do. We'll put something together. Dave, if you're watching this, get ready, bud. We're gonna message you after the show. I'm making the notes now. This could be a ton of fun, especially them being the same weekend. Talk about motivation, man.
Right.
Yeah, I'm in.
I
I'm
like
in
it.
on that. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm making these notes now. Okay. Uh Next up, this was I had a big weekend. I wasn't going to do anything this last weekend. I was just going to absolutely be lazy, but I could not do that to myself. So I got up early Saturday morning and I drove back up to Boots Court, which is the second route stop on the Drag and Drive event, the circuit. So I drove back up to Boots Court and headed towards the Rail Haven, which is our third route stop of the circuit drag and drive. I wanted to one check the roads because I took folks down a really bumpy bad road last year. So I wanted to make sure those roads were not going to happen again. So took off from Boots Court. Dude, we had a gamble on last week's show. How long would it take me to drive the 63 miles?
And it
Well, it
was
took me
you
two.
you
Go
yeah,
ahead.
you sent me that at what, 12:45 is when you left
Mhm.
there?
Yep, and it was 3:45 when I got to the Rail Haven. So it took me 3 hours to go 62 miles, and this place right here is the reason. Now, it shouldn't have taken me 3 hours, and it will not take racers 3 hours to do this, but the Gary's Gay Parita here, this gas station. Oh, wrong trip, wrong picture. This spot here is on our way back because it's on the right side of the road. I was trying to get everything set up to where we're pulling in right, pulling out right, going on our route. So this will be on our way back. But dude named George, him and his wife own this place. Y'all, it's absolutely amazing. What's funny is when you look up this filling station on Google or anything, it's Gary's Gay Parita filling station and service. I don't remember the city, but that should get you there. All of the pictures just show the little filling station, which literally has two pumps outside and is an office the size. I don't know if it's as big as my 9x7 podcast room. I'm telling you,
Right.
but that's where he did all this stuff when he wasn't busy. It was so cool. George was telling all kinds of stories, but when Gary wasn't busy, he was calling places to get people to come back onto Route 66, make the drives, come see all these places. So he was one of the first and largest ambassadors for Route 66. So it's really cool to be there and be with all of that history. That in this garage that you're looking at here, there's all kinds of really, really cool stuff. If you're following the circuit on Facebook, you saw my live stream, and then I've posted up several reels from this place. A lot of really cool stuff. Again, the hard part for this is one of our stops on the way back from the racer party to Mocan. So if you're going to be making passes on Sunday and you want as much time as possible, you're going to need to get up early and get on the road, because I'm guaranteeing you, if you walk through the gate into this place, you're going to spend an hour here. It's really hard to get out of there just because there's so much cool stuff. And when would you be there again? So George said he was going to be out there that morning at about 7 a.m., hopefully welcoming as many people as possible. So I'll definitely make myself run through there and look at that stuff, but I don't know if I'll make it. If I need to be there before 7 a.m. is what I'm saying. But there's plenty of parking ish. I think we can probably get 70 or 80 cars here at one time. But um, please be courteous of how you park when you're here. Don't try to take up too much space. There's the parking in front of their place and then the parking across the street. So this is a really cool deal. This truck here, I literally turned around. I passed it. I was like, what was that? So it looks like it's on like a 2500 Ram frame. It's got Cummins decals on it and things like that. But this right here, I would definitely pull a race car with this rig.
Yeah,
But
the pictures are kind of out of order here, but
no, that's all right. Eric was throwing these in as fast as he could. So this is part of the Gary's filling station here. This is one of the largest Route 66 signs that are on the road in all of Route 66. So you've got to get a picture with this. What's really cool is if you are across the street and shoot back towards the filling station, it gives a really, really cool shot, especially with a whole bunch of race cars there. So I'm excited to see everybody come across and do that. And then this is a place called Red Oak. This is actually about 4 or 5 miles after you leave Boots Court. And it's off the route just a little bit, probably a mile off the route, total loop. But if you have time and it's daylight, I highly recommend it. It's a community that the manager at Boots Court lives in. Like these are actual houses that people live in. And if you again follow the circuit on Facebook, you can see my entire tour of this place. Everything in there is really, really cool. All the buildings are special. There's no like I wouldn't say there's no regular house. I mean, everything has a neat purpose. So there's a few videos on there that you guys can go watch. And then the entire route is peppered with stuff like this. This is another one I turned around and pulled back. I thought this would make a really good backdrop for people to take pictures. This
yeah.
isn't a route stop. The Red Oak isn't a route stop, but how often are you going to be on Route 66? Take the time. It'll be fine if you don't get 4 passes in one day and you only get 3, because you got to see all this stuff. So again, this is on the right side of the road, so it could be as you're coming back, except you wouldn't see it until you passed it. So I don't know. We're gonna have fun. There's gonna be 150 plus cars making this trip along Route 66,
Yeah,
and then
that's
of
gonna be
course,
that's gonna be a cool backdrop. I think a lot of people
oh,
will stop there.
yep, I hope they do, and I really hope that you guys post a ton to social media with all the stuff. Please tag the circuit. We'll grab all of those pictures, put them in an album and all that, but keep it for yourself, because this is stuff that won't be here in 20 years. This
Right.
building looks new and nice from this side. The other side does not look like that. So keep that in mind. This is an experience. It's not just a drag and drive, get point A to point B and mark things off your list. We're going to have a blast with this. And then of course, you know me, I had to eat at Waffle House. We have the Saturday morning Waffle House deal. Thank you so much to Driven Racing Oil for putting up $250 for free breakfast for racers and co-pilots. The deal is you'll have to have a bracelet on to get that. Waffle House is also throwing in another 100. So we have $350 that's going to be for free for people to get there. We're doing this from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I actually got to hang out with Sydney, the manager that will be on site that day. She'll be the store manager by then. And she said she's ready. They've got it. They have it. They have it staffed up like it's Christmas Day, which is their busiest of
Nice.
the year. Yeah. So there's plenty of parking. The parking lot is a little goofy in this place. So as we get closer, I'll be putting up maps and things like that so people will know how to park and where to park. And guys with trailers will have the hardest part getting around. So we want to make sure we take care of those guys. But again, 7 to 11 a.m. Waffle House in Springfield. Thank you so much to Waffle House for being a big part of all of this stuff that we've got going on here. All right, let's talk about one of the biggest things that are going on too.
Yeah.
The fastest streetcar shootout. Have you seen this?
Have you
Have you
seen the
seen
list of
the
racers?
Oh man, I'm telling you, I was going through, and Brian and the team at Havlick's Hot Rods by Havlick have been just killing the game on post. It's like
Yeah.
one a day, and they just get cooler and cooler. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they're doing a good job with that for sure.
Yeah, and one of the things I think is really neat about this, it's a tribute race, so they're limiting it to 300 cars, which is crazy to me. I can't wait to see all these folks on site. And this picture here by our boy Chris Story is one of my favorite shots that I've seen so far, and it's their two newest, I guess, confirmations that are coming to the event. So what kicked off me covering this actual picture here and the event is Jason Hurley signed up, our boy with the Meltdown Firebird,
Yep.
fastest the last three Rocky Mountain Race Week events. He has signed up and confirmed. So I was like, oh my gosh, mind blown. I'm excited to see Jason out doing things other than 1.0 and 2.0. So that'll be good. And then we got Bryant Goldstone in there as well. Tina and Dave Pierce. Glenn Hunter is coming over for this. Jesse and Brian Hadlick, obviously. I don't know how they're going to race and run the event, but they're going to be there. And then, are you ready for this name? Matt Frost.
Yep.
Matt Frost is going. Yeah. Royce Payton, who you see in the back in the Nightmare Mustang, they're absolutely crazy. That car is so cool. And then Darslaw's in the Oldsmobile there in the front. Dude, I'm telling you, this event is going to be nuts. This
Yeah.
this is going to be a good one, and I think it's close enough to you. Like maybe you're trying to make it down to a day of this, right?
Yeah, I
Or
was thinking about it. It's at Tri-State Raceway in Earlville, Iowa on August 9th and 10th.
Hmm. I wonder what I have going on that week. Maybe I can run up to Earlville, Iowa. I think that's only about 6 or 7 hours from me, so it'd be worth it to come see you. And maybe it's 3 or 4 hours for you, and you can sneak down, and we can spend the weekend with a bunch of our drag and drive friends. But this
Yeah.
this event right here is going to be nuts, man.
Yeah,
And
it's going to be pretty cool.
it's really crazy to me that I feel like it's long overdue to have a tribute race to, this is basically what kicked off all of the drag and drive and hot rod drag week and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
This is the event that started.
We talked about that podcast when that came out, covering a
Mhm.
lot of that fastest streetcar shootout stuff. So,
Yep. Yeah, Brian Lones did an amazing job of that. If you haven't listened to that episode, you have to go back and listen to it for sure. All right, what's up next here? Oh yeah, the bad news of the day. Dude, I was so sad when I saw this. So I won't be at the Midwest Drag Racing Series event this weekend because there is tornado watches and all that kind of stuff that will be down there and all that happening. Sadly. So I'm sad I'm missing that. I'm sad I'm missing Texas 2K, but it does allow me to go to a track meet for my oldest daughter, which I haven't been to one of her track meets yet because I was traveling last time. And my youngest daughter has a gymnastics meet that I was going to miss that weekend. So I'll get to go to both of those, which is good dad stuff and good stuff, good karma into the world. But dang, I wanted to see some race cars, man.
yeah.
So I did a quick search on Texas 2K to see who all was going to be there that we know from the drag and drive community. And I looked against the 2023 national list to see who had done all that stuff. And it looked like there were 11 racers. Now there may be more, but 11 racers that showed up on the list. Oh, excuse me, 11 racers showed up on the list that are down at Texas 2K that were also drag and drive racers. We got Kylie Moore, Luna Tran. Luna, if you'll remember, she won the 9.0 champion, or not championship, but the 9.0 trophy for the 9.0 index stuff that we do for the Summit Racing racer lists. And then I'm going to butcher this name, but Sana Dada Boy, I don't know, maybe. We'll see. Is down there. I think both of those are GTR racers. And then you got Earl Schneider. down there. You got Robert Robinson, Cooper Bogetti, the Mr. 100 after sick week last year. Kyle Williams, Boosted Lifestyle, is down there in his Mustang, or trailered it from Canada, pulled a Rich Guido there, came all the way down. And then I also looked against sick week racers from this year to see what we had. To see who had already raced in a drag and drive this year and who was there as well. So we got Chris Bach down there, Zach Myers, Brett LaSala, Will Carter, and Tyree Smith are all there. So pretty
Yep.
awesome. I see Pat Cook says James from High Speed Media is there. Yes. Is he racing or is he covering it? And then that track channel is down there as well, putting out daily coverage. I watched his day one video earlier today. Pretty cool. I really wish I was going to Texas 2K. Our boys at Summit are there. Jim and Tommy are there. So sad that
Have you
I'm not.
Have you been to Texas 2K before?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh man, so James is racing. Dang.
He has his Camaro there.
Yeah. Well, shoot. So I'm sure there's a lot of other drag and drive racers. Again, I just looked at the 2023 list. I didn't want to go back through and do all the search across everything. So good luck to those guys. Those are our homies. Those are the ones we want those folks to win all that stuff.
Right.
Whatever
And
class they're in, win it.
Yeah, and I seen Brett LaSala. I don't remember the number. It was a 640 something right off the trailer. I don't know if you had saw that.
Insane. I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. It was a 643 or 646 or something
Wow.
along those lines. But yeah.
Well, I definitely have a full breakdown. We'll talk about all of that on Saturday morning because I'll be home, sadly. So I wish I was going to be live from Midwest Drag Race Series, but hey, that's the way it goes. And that's why I won't be at King of the Open Road on the 26th to 28th, is because I will be at XRP, or Extreme Raceway Park in Texas, doing makeup for this event that would have been this weekend. So they're going to put it down there for the 26th to 28th. So I'll be in Texas then instead of King of the Open Road, sadly.
Which is like what, a week after the circuit?
Yeah. So we'll do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the circuit, come home for a couple days, and I'll leave that next Thursday. Yeah.
Busy man.
Yeah, I'll be posting up my schedule. I was actually offered an opportunity to do some more stuff the other day, so we're going to see how it works. It's going to see how it works with it coming from here on out. So I'm excited to see the schedule for 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, lead us into this next part here, and let's talk about some community things.
Yes, sir. Howard's Cam is our official valve train of Drag Drive Repeat. Howard's Cam was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago. When Howard Jonathan created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945, Johnson created Howard's Power and Racing. It's going to be one of those nights tonight, huh?
I'm telling you.
Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs. Today, they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cam is at the forefront of the industry.
Yep. Well, make sure you reach out to our buddy Luke B on Facebook, or hit us up and we'll get you in touch with him. We'll give you the secret bat line number to get your next valve train upgrade.
So we got some so we got some pictures here. So did you see this post about Hargett and the new intake that he's getting?
Yes. This is going to be awesome. TTR Incorporated. This new intake is going to be awesome. And Ryan's really excited. He was actually messaging me after this, and he's pumped. He thinks he can get more horsepower from this setup. And anytime you can get more horsepower, it's always a good thing. Plus, look how good that thing looks. Now, that's not what it is that's on the engine there underneath it, but it is what's up above it there, dude. This is going to be nuts, man. It's going to take a little bit of weight off. It's also going to make more power. I'm in.
Yep. Yeah, that's going to be pretty sweet. Looking forward to updates as he gets that going.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then he's been again back on the cardboard aided design,
Yep.
not carburetors, cardboard aided design, building out the new wall. And actually, I think he either posted pictures or sent me a picture of a turbo hanging there where it's going to be. So again, we're
Ooh.
going to go over all of this stuff on Saturday morning with Ryan and updates on the car, where he's at, when, hopefully we can see when it's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you move on, this reminded me of something else I was going to put in here, but I
Mhm.
forgot to. Um, did you see Rich Woodward's post?
Huh.
He's got a picture of the LS that was out of the Mustang next to a Coyote,
Oh man,
and
if
he
it's going
he's
Coyote on that Fox body, I'm in.
he said, "Look at the difference in in the overall size of it." So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm guessing that is what his plan is. He did say though that it's not going to be a manual trans. I know people were giving him a hard time about that, but yeah, I think that's his long-term plan. I don't know if that's going to be a this season
Hmm.
deal or if he's going to get the LS back going and continue running. But he did say at some time in the future that that is his plan.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
So
awesome. I'm excited about that, and that car is fast and has been fast, and with a Coyote, it's probably going to be faster.
yeah,
Sadly, that's the way we're looking at a bunch of stuff, and that's Ryan's goal here is obviously fives. I mean, they basically pulled this Camaro out of the back shop and are putting the Coyote in and going unlimited racing. So pretty pumped about this huge, like 83 millimeter twin HPT turbos. This car is going to be wild. And again, fives is the goal. It's like the
yeah.
new goal for everybody. I can't wait. Is 2024 going to be the year that we're going to get a 5 second average in drag and drive?
I'm gonna say no. I don't think it is. I think we're
I,
gonna be close, but I don't think this year will
mm,
do it.
yeah, yeah. Well, we already got one in the 30s, 630s. So we'll see. It's going to be close. I'm excited about that. Well, let's talk about this rig here. Mr. Kanan Hall posted this up on Sloppy Mechanics the other day. Dude, look at this. If
Yeah,
that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what can.
yeah. I
A
believe he said
Pro
this.
Street Willys?
Yeah, this was gonna be his dad's drag and drive vehicle, right?
Yeah, yeah. Just look at that. Twins, LS, and look at the placement of those turbos,
Dude, I love that.
right?
Absolutely love it.
Let's go back to man. I'm telling you, I think you could probably just throw headlights in, make just a simple, quick, plug in, throw headlights in that thing to drive on. Then when you get to the track, pull those headlights out and run a. I guess you probably got to have some kind of headlight, but a light bar or something on the front so you can see at the end of the track. But this
Yeah,
is going to be a super cool rig. Again, Kanan Hall on. He posted this on Sloppy Mechanics public page, but I'm sure he's got all this stuff on his personal Facebook as well,
yeah. And look at that rear end.
dude. Mm, I'm in. I'm in. Well, let's talk about this deal here. This is brand new video posted either today. I want to say thanks to Nico Christoferi for posting this in our Race Car Friends Facebook group chat. This is a pretty neat deal. It is a lock. Tick Performance has developed a lockout to go from 2 to 3. No more money shifts on a T56 with this setup. So obviously, I just saw it for a second. This could save a lot of engines and a lot of transmissions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I saw when you sent this to me, but I hadn't had a chance to watch the video. But
yeah.
I know Tick Performance does quite a bit of stuff with the
Yeah.
T56. I know
Yeah.
the 240 that I have has a rebuild kit from Tick Performance, and I've had
Sweet.
no issues with that since it's been rebuilt. So I
Yeah.
imagine that this product is going to be just as good as everything else they put out.
Oh, yeah. And this deal here is pretty cool because, like, you can use it on all the time, every time, all that stuff. So essentially, that little lever there allows you to go. It's kind of like the levers that you use to go into reverse, right? So it's like that, but it allows you to go back over and up into first. It like essentially locks out, so there's no way you can go 2-1, which is
Yeah.
really, I mean, that's a big deal in stick shift stuff. I would imagine that's what killed Finnegan's. That last Hemi he put in that the blasphemy. So pretty cool. He said it'll work on 4, 5, and 6 speed transmissions, but this particular one here is for like a T56 and an F body.
Yep.
So I'm
So
sure
the
they've got
six
all
speed.
kinds of different stuff. Yep. Yep. So I'm sure they've got a ton of different offerings there
Yeah, I'll
as
be
well.
curious if anybody in the community ends up running that.
Yeah. Yeah. Money shifter.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep. Yeah. I
Plus
would.
the green coating goes perfect.
I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way.
That's
Yeah.
advertisement at its best right there.
Yeah, for sure. Cause like you're not going to put something covering that.
Right.
You want to see that thing. And I mean, I don't know. It looks good. And I think it's going to be just another way. I mean, stick shift racing is obviously becoming one of the largest classes in all of drag and drive. It's going to be interesting to see if we have a drag and drive that ends up splitting the stick shift class, because you have some very fast cars, Chad Fagley, you've got Jeremy Howell, 750s, 730s in that car. So Taylor Hedrick in the sevens. So we're going to, do you loop those cars in with the same cars that are running 10s and 11s and 12s? Or do you go ahead and break it into two different classes? So pretty interesting. And then if you do break it into two classes, how do you judge? Is it based on ET? I don't know. So,
Yeah,
so anyways,
I just looked that up. It looks like that price starts at 850. So it
yeah,
looks like there might be a couple options to go with it, but
that's
yeah,
cool.
that looks like the price on that, which, again, $850 if it saves an engine,
Yeah, it's
you
worth it.
know.
It's
Yeah.
worth it for sure. Yep. All right. Well, guys, you know what time it is. It's a gentleman's agreement. Here's the deal. We love doing this. We work hard. We spend a lot of time and a lot of money doing this, and we'll keep doing it. I promise. But we need one thing from you, and this is why it's a gentleman's agreement. We can't verify that you do it or not, but you know it's the right thing to do. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching this. That's the best way to stay on top of everything drag and drive that we're going to be covering. And do we do this twice a week? We do posts every day, at least one post every day on every social media platform that we have. So, guys,
Yeah.
we ask you to hit that subscribe button. That's the gentleman's agreement. We keep working for you. You do that for us. Help us get to that 100,000, please. We're so
Yeah, buddy.
man,
So
so
close.
so close. And then, guys, just want to say thank you for being our race car friends. We can't do this without you. It's Race car friends are what makes the world go round. This is one of the best groups of people that are out there in the entire world. I don't know of any better racing group. I may meet some here next weekend, but the race car friends that we have from Dragon Driver are amazing, and we can't do this without you. So thank you for being part of our race car friends, and then thank you to our sponsors. They literally make travel possible. They make it possible for us to drive 25,000 miles in a year to go to events and do this. Probably if you combine both of ours, it's probably more like 30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We were on the road a lot last year. Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Change 3D, Power Performer Built Transmissions, Howard's Cams. I was combining those two. Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, and our newest partner, Power Tube TV.
Yeah, buddy.
Mm-hmm. And
Before we
guys,
get to that, I
oh,
think you skipped over something.
oh, what I skip?
What the most visited tracks of 2024?
What? Yep. All right. Well, let's leave up the power tube thing here while we talk about this, because guys, this is a big deal. I was thinking about Mocan, obviously, my favorite track in the whole entire world. I was like, with them having the circuit, which will be there twice, and with Rocky Mountain Race Week visiting on one of their races for 1.0, and then 666 visiting Mocan, did that make Mocan the most visited drag and drive track of 2024? So it got obviously nerded out for a minute. Started kind of adding it up, and Mocan is not the most visited track in 2024 for drag and drive.
Which probably broke your heart a little bit.
It did a little bit, but they're second with 4 visits, which is pretty cool, man. I love that. Milan Dragway in Michigan is going to be the most visited track in drag and drive. How cool is that, man? So
Yeah.
we've got 5 visits for Milan this year. So you're going to have Heads Up Hustle is going to be there twice. That's the host track. Back to the Streets, it's also the host track for that one. And Hot Rod Drag Week hits Milan. Dude, that's why I love Drag and Drive. Is it's not just a weekend event. Like, even though these weekend events are just racing for 3 days, like we're hitting two different tracks. Heads Up Hustle hits two different tracks. Back to the Streets hit two different tracks, and those are just regional events. All the other big national level events hit four tracks.
Yeah.
So pretty cool, man. I'm really congratulations to Milan. This is pretty exciting for them. And again, this is just kind of not super nerd level of me to do that, but I thought that was pretty fun. But
Well,
go ahead.
I'm gonna make you feel a little bit better here. If you look at those two, each one of those tracks only has 3 events at the track, though.
Yeah. Yep. And
So
that's another thing that's really great about this whole deal is because now we're going to be filling the stands all the time with drag and drive people, and there's nothing cooler. People, spectators don't understand how cool it is yet to see drag and drive cars. See these cars pulling trailers with the race car. I'm telling you, last year was good for drag and drive. This year is going to be better. More people are going to know about this, and it's going to be so much fun. So I did get super nerdy after this though, because it was like 1 a.m. and I was like, oh man, I'll just look at this for 1 second. Not taking out, like not duplicating, not removing the duplicate tracks. Drag and Drive events will visit 99 racetracks worldwide in
whew,
2024. How cool, dude! Like that's what gets me excited.
I
Is
think that would have been a good post in the race car friends group to guess
Yeah,
that number.
yeah,
We
I-
we probably should have did that just to see what people had thought before
yeah.
we revealed it.
Yeah, 99 tracks based on what I can see. So if you remove the duplicates like Milan or Mocan here, you're probably still in the mid 80s because there's a lot of the same, a lot of times we all hit the same tracks because of the regions. But I mean, think about that. Like if each track sees a bump of $10,000 to $20,000 per day that people are there, that's an entire economy that we're
Yeah.
creating around drag and drive. And that's what I was saying all of last year was like, this is why it's important. This is why drag and drive is so good for the community because you have cars, our event, the circuit, 150 race cars, 280 people. If we kind of figure out the math from there, plus all the staff, plus all the photographers, we all got to eat somewhere. We all
Right.
got to get gas somewhere. We all got to stay in hotels. I mean, we've booked out. The host hotels are completely booked. No more rooms available in three different hotels across the area.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Did you cover that when we were talking about the circuit?
What's that?
Oh, you didn't. I don't think you did. The host hotel, the Rail Haven, we booked it out all but 2 rooms.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So Tracy, the manager there, was talking, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I think you guys are the entire place." Well, one thing I didn't notice was that there's also, so we talk about the Elvis Suite all the time, which Cody booked, but there's also a Marilyn Monroe room and going to be a Billy the Kid room that I actually, if you guys are following the circuit on Facebook, you saw me in the bathtub. That's literally in the room. So we're gonna have a great time. She's letting us use the pavilion, but yes, there are only 2 rooms that are booked by other people. So can you imagine being those folks? Let's say you're a mid 50s husband and wife, and you're just gonna cruise Route 66 a little bit of it, and you pull into the Rail Haven on Friday, April 19th, and there's 70 hot rods there. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah, one of 2 things is gonna happen. You're either gonna be super stoked because that's why you're at this hotel to see
yeah,
cool stuff like that,
yep.
or I hope it's not the other, but they're not gonna be a car person at all, and they're gonna be completely annoyed with us.
Yeah, hey, listen, if they're not a car person at all, they can kick rocks because, man, they're going to be in trouble. Oh, yes, Brandon Parker is in the Marilyn Monroe room. You know what that means. We're going to get a super cool tour of that space as well. I didn't get to look at it because there was actually somebody that had booked it. And Tracy had said that that person had booked it like 4 months before. So they had planned this big trip. So pretty fun. Yeah, I hope they like race car friends. She has given us full reign of the pavilion, so we'll be, doing some snacks. I'll pick up some Little Debbie's or something like that, and we'll be out there hanging out. And some adult beverages and some cold coolers are going to be had out there as well. So really cool
Uh,
place. Yeah.
yeah, Pat Cook here. I don't know if you know this one offhand, but how many new tracks this year?
I thought about that, but I have not ran that yet. But I will do that for Saturday. Let me put that down here in the notes here.
Pat, I guess you'll have to tune in on Saturday to get your answer on that one.
Yeah, listen, it was like that was the last thing I did last night. And it was 1 a.m. when I was like, I'll look at this.
This person says camping in the Railhaven parking lot.
I mean, I don't think they would turn you away. I know I won't. Camping is available at the track as well if you'd like to camp over there. We'll be sending out an email probably next week that'll ask who's planning on camping at the track and kind of a timeline. So, anyways, the route, just to talk about the route for the circuit real quick, that did take me 3 hours, but if we back it up in figure two, that's literally 4 hours of driving between Mocan and the Railhaven. So plan for that. Again, we'll be going over that as we get closer. Sorry,
Yeah,
my daughter's texting me here.
and the track opens at 9 a.m. on Sunday, right? So if you're going to
Yes.
do those two route stops in the morning, yeah, that's kind of, I assume that's why the fuel station, is expecting people around 7. Because if you get started and you want to be there when the track opens, you're going to have
Yeah.
to get up and hit those route stops if you're going to be there by 9 when they open up the gates.
Yep. That's exactly right. All right. Well, let's thank our newest partners, PowerTube TV, and then bring on our first guest, Mr. Leslie Horne, after that. So, Eric, you want to read this here, and then we'll bring him on.
Yes, sir. So obviously a lot of people know that we've been talking about PowerTube. They are playing our show on there, which is excellent. We are excited to partner with PowerTube TV, the ultimate streaming destination for automotive enthusiasts. Created by enthusiasts for enthusiasts, PowerTube TV is revolutionizing the way you experience automotive programming. You'll find replays of this show you're watching alongside exclusive content from us and other automotive content creators. PowerTube TV is a place to watch all the classics like Pink's. I know you guys have seen that. Pink's All Out and Pastime make their triumphant return alongside reboots and original content. PowerTube TV is more than just a streaming platform, it's a community, a launchpad for emerging builders and racers through their content creator development program. Join forces with talented partners and showcase your skills to the world. Join us on PowerTube TV and experience the thrill of automotive entertainment like never before. Speed, power, and community await you. For more, watch PowerTubeTV.com or download the app on your phone or smart TV.
That's exactly right. Well, guys, this segment here is this is breaking news that we're releasing tonight. There's people that are good friends of mine that don't even know about what we're fixing to talk about. So this is pretty exciting. Let's bring on the owner of the Southeast Gassers Association, Mr. Leslie Horne. Mr. Sir, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing, Mike, Eric?
Good.
Man, I'm excited about this. If you haven't noticed, excited is the word of the evening for sure. Now, you and I were talking earlier over the last week about all of the things that are coming up. And after our conversation, I made the decision. I'm coming to Ringgold, to Brainerd for the first event of the season. I'm excited to be down there for the Southeast Gassers Association kickoff. So, why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about what's going on, who you are, and all that?
Well, we're glad you coming down to the first race there, Mike. We're looking forward to you being there. We're excited about the the PowerTube TV thing. Excited. I guess it's okay to go ahead and say that you're going to be one of our hosts to help us on the PowerTube TV, which we're very excited about that. But Southeast Gassers is it's 1967 and back. It's old classic cars. It's 4-speed, straight axle, first to the finish line racing, no buybacks. So, you lose, you go to the trailer. it's just been very, very neat of everything that it's done. We have several classes. It's all weight per cubic inch. It's all naturally aspirated. It's magnesium wheels. There's a lot of strict rules that we have to go by to run with the gassers. But other than that, I don't want to run away with it too much. Mike, you got some questions for me? Let's get to rolling.
Yes, certainly. So obviously made a big splash last year when the news came out. After PRI, I think that you had made the purchase, that you guys had come to an agreement, and you were going to be the new owner of the association. So I want to kind of back up just a little bit, because that's not where your story started with the Southeast Gassers. Kind of tell us a little bit about how you got involved, and then kind of how that story came about.
Well, Quayne Stock's the founder of the Southeast Gassers, and Quayne, Mitch, his whole family. I'm from Green Creek, North Carolina, originally, where he's from. My dad knew his dad, so I've known him forever. Back in, I think it was 17, I went to one of the races at Shadyside and talked with my son, and we decided to build a car and come race. But we ended up buying one and went and raced. In 2018 was the first time we raced, and that was in a car called the Stud Muffin, which was a 62 Chevy 2 wagon, Fulton powered. And that's kind of where it started from there. And I done it, for my son, but what happens, I end up falling in love with it, and I got hooked and kind of got all in. So that's where it was at. But yes, back as far as me and Quayne, we had talked several times through last year and actually a little bit the year before. He had a lot of stuff that went on in his life. He was looking at some different things, and I'm glad that he even trusted me enough to even talk to me about it. So that I'm happy for that. But we end up coming to an agreement at Thanksgiving is when it was.
Nice.
So it was right before the PRI show went to it. So to say being overwhelmed at the PRI show was an understatement for all of us. But I'm excited about all the stuff that's happened so far. I'm excited about, the sponsors, the people that has stepped on to help us. I'm excited about PowerTube. I'm excited about you, Mike. I'm excited about you, Eric, and the show. And anybody that tries to help us, we really appreciate it, what we're doing. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at.
Well, I'm really excited about this whole thing, because I've always loved gassers, but I've never really been around them a whole bunch. I think this is, I've been just consuming all kinds of gasser content the last, 10 days since the team at PowerTube and I kind of worked this deal out. And this event looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. So obviously it's a race series. You have several events. How many events do you guys have? And then where are some of the locations they can see it?
We have 10 events this year. Back during COVID, we cut it down from 11 to 10. So I'm staying with that for this year. Most of the races stuff was already scheduled whenever I come into the picture. But we have 10 races. The first one starting at Ringo, Georgia. Brainerd one just talking about is 323, which I'm glad you're going to be able to make it to that one. But we've got them in Shelby, North Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, Union, Kentucky, Gulfport, Mississippi. I mean, we go a little bit of everywhere on the southeast side anyway, sometimes a little further.
Right. Yeah. So it looks like there's a lot of stuff that goes on at these races. What are some things that people that are going to be obviously watching the app and watching the show that we're going to be doing, but also attending the event? What are some of the things they can expect?
Well, it's up close and personal to all the racers, all the race cars. Everybody is there with basically open arms. You can get up close with everybody. And on Fridays, you have a lot of people cooking out, having a good time. We're going to look at doing a few things on Friday nights too. Friday nights is test and tune for most of them. So a lot of the cars will be out there test and tune. Other than that, that's on Fridays. That's about sums it up. So
yeah. And then let's talk about classes, because I don't understand when you say weight per cubic inch. Okay. And is that how you set the classes up?
Yes, it is. This is the way that Quayne has set them up. And it's what it is A gas is 6 pounds per cubic inch. B gas is 8 pounds per cubic inch. C gas is 10 pounds per cubic inch. And then we have another class called Super Stop. So, but that's basically the way it's set up.
I see Jeremy Bonnet in here saying he needs gasser info. Yes, he does. He would show up and show out at these events for sure. And I think that's what's going to be fun about me kind of being involved in this as well as we're going to get some of these drag and drive guys over there, and man, we're gonna we're gonna have a blast. Well, you also race now. Being the owner, are you going to continue to race? Because I know how hard it is to put on an event and race. It's very, very difficult.
Yes, that's my plans. Continue to race this year. Last year I come in second in the points behind Gabriel Burrow and the Southern Flyer. The year before that, I won the championship. So, yeah, I'm planning on racing all of them. I'm planning on being there, and I'm planning on going to win. We've got people in place to run the show. Quayne had some good people that was already in place, and they're all there. I have full confidence in them to be able to run it. If they got any questions, they can talk to me on Monday.
Right. Well, tell us about this car. This is the Chick Magnet that you race now. What's the setup? Kind of ETs you run, all that stuff.
This car was actually one of Quayne's first ones that he built for the Southeast Gasser. I mean, it ain't the first one, but it was close right at the beginning, and it did belong to Shannon Smith. It was originally the Pale Rider. I purchased it in late 19, and so then I jumped from C-Gas. I won the C-Gas championship in 19, and then in 20, I jumped to A-Gas, and I still kept the C-Gas car too, but I had another driver at that time driving it. But this car, we actually, I mean, from where it was when I got it to Shannon to now, we've changed quite a bit from basically one end to the other. But it's got a Fulton 477 cubic inch big block. We turned it close to 10,000 RPMs. It's got a G-Force 4-speed with a Ram single disc clutch in it, with 490s.
That's intense. And from some of the videos, looks like it does pretty good wheelies.
Yeah, it does good. The old car runs really good. It works good. I've had Brian Harris with me now for 4 years, I guess, and we've got the old car working good. This is a leaf spring car. It's ladder bars. We can't have no 4 links or nothing like that. We have rules on the length on your ladder bars, length on your wheelie bars. There's a lot of stuff in place that people don't understand that we have to go by. But yeah, it runs pretty good. It'll run 520. I mean, it's pretty good. Right.
That's awesome. And these are naturally aspirated, right? Or do you
Yes,
have some blower?
all naturally aspirated. I wish you had a picture underneath the hood. It has to have like old style valve covers. We can run what they call the bread box intake. We can't run no modern intakes. You can run a little more modern intake, but you have a 100-pound penalty if you was to run that.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things to it that's.
Yeah.
You can get some breaks here and there on certain things as long as it is period correct. There is a break for if you run a stock block, like a junkyard block, there's breaks and stuff for that. So, but anyway, there's several things to it. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. What are some of the things that, I guess if as a spectator, because I'll be spectator slash, guy running around with a camera, but what are some of the fast classes A-Gas, right?
Yes.
I'm following that there. And then what's the difference in, I guess, as far as I hate to ask ETs because I don't know, you guys don't post times, right?
We don't post ETs. It's because at the end of the day, it's the first to the finish line, and it's really at the end of the day, the ET don't matter a whole lot other than somebody wants to have a bragging right or something. But yeah, the next class but I don't mind telling you, the next class is B, and it's in the 60s. It's in the 560s, right now,
Wow.
which is extremely fast for
8
pounds per cubic inch. And then the next class is C class, which is in the high fives, which is unheard of. I mean, and give you, for instance, in 2018, I remember running a 699 and I thought that was fast. And now we're a whole second past that. So that's how much it's evolved. Just like A-Gas, when I come into A-Gas in 2000, the record was a 48. It had been a 48 for like 4 to 5 years. So
wow.
it's evolved that much. But it started out as a show. It's turned into a pretty tight race now. And first round can be a final round just about any time in A-Gas. Everybody is so close. We're talking about 200 or 300s. I mean, it makes it tight.
That's awesome. And then stick shift stuff too, right? Most cars are stick. All stick.
4 speeds. Every one of them's all 4-speed, all naturally aspirated. Clutch, single disc, no triple disc or nothing like that. I mean, it's just go get it.
That's intense. Well, obviously, I'm gonna love being there. What are some of the other places that you guys hit? You said it a while ago, but I
Well, we got Georgia, the first one, the one you coming to. Then we'll go to Shelby, North Carolina, Shady Side Dragway. That's usually one of the biggest turnouts. We usually have 3,000 plus spectators. So if you want to come there, you need to come, spend on being in line. If you get there at 9 to 10 o'clock, you're going to be in line for a little while to get in. Then we'll go to Ohio. Xenia, Ohio, is one of my favorite tracks. I've won the last 4 years in a row there, I think. 3 years or 4 years in a row.
wow.
So I really like that track. I'm planning on continuing that this year. So we'll see how that turns out. We'll go to Knoxville, Tennessee. We go to Union, South Carolina. The first time we went to Union, South Carolina, and I think we went down and done the exhibition stuff back before I came to race with them, somewhere around 15. We go to London, Kentucky, which is up in the Daniel Boone State Park. Pretty cool up there. Go up there on top of the mountain. We go to Mooresville, North Carolina. We go to Gulfport, Mississippi. And then back to Shelby, North Carolina for the finals. And that's in November the 2nd will be our finals.
That's awesome. The one at Gulfport, you guys are there at the end of Cruising the Coast, right?
Yes, we are. We are there during the end of Cruise Coast. And last year was our first time there. And Mike, you wouldn't believe Friday night. I mean, Friday night was unreal. The parking lot was 55 Chevys galore. I mean, it was lined up. There was so many people coming on Friday night that they had to get the law there to direct people off the road to get them in there. That was one of our biggest Friday nights we had. And I wouldn't be surprised if this year we don't way exceed that from what we had last year. And the way those boys are working down there that owns that track, runs that track, they are promoting and helping, and they're doing a great job. And I'm glad we're going to get to go back there. I know the first time I went, I was like, I don't know about this, but man, after we got there and just seen the enthusiasm of the spectators that was there and the owners, I mean, we got to go back. That's all there is to it.
Oh, for sure. And this picture here reminded me, this is actually one of your I guess highest competition or highest competitors, Adam Lohorn there in the other lane. And he's also a drag and drive guy. He raced Drag Week last year. So
he did, him and his dad.
Yep.
Him and his dad did in the Camaro. So great.
I was gonna say not in this car, but in a Camaro they had. That's a tribute to
Grumpy Jenkins. Yeah.
Yep. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a super nice family, and they cook some good jambalaya. I know I'm probably saying that wrong, but at night on Friday night, so usually have a big old thing. His dad Mike's got this big old plow, this big thing, and they welded it up. And anyway, they cook some mean jambalaya for everybody to eat. So it's a pretty good event to go there. My son, he loves to go over there and eat, so we'll be trying to work on a car racing or something, doing something. He's like, has the Longhorns got the food cooked yet? And I say, well, I don't know. You can go over and check yourself. But anyway, that's a great family. And Adam's an awesome guy, and he does a lot for us, and we're glad to have him there with us.
And a heck of a driver.
Oh,
like
yes.
Every video of him is like that right there. Him just hanging the wheels, 100 feet out. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and rolling through the gears like that too. Now that's not just the first. He has been through third gear like that, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an animal for sure.
Yeah, it's a great guy.
Well, I know kind of before the show we were talking a little bit, and do you want to talk a little bit about the number of cars you've had?
Oh man, that'd be a bunch in the past. I'm a big first generation Camaro guy. I've had a lot of those in my life there, and I go through spurts of different things. I went through Jeeps, but I've always stuck with the Camaros. My first car I ever had was a 67 Camaro when I was 14 years old, and I've always had a love for the 67 Camaro. I mean, people give me a hard time about the 69. Oh, the 69. Oh, 69 is a great car. I'll fall across 3 69s to look at the 67. So it's just kind of the way I am about it. But they are cool cars. But yeah, I've really trimmed my collection back a good bit now. So I still got 3 first gen Camaros 67s, but
3 of them right now, huh?
Yeah, but that's really good compared to where it has been in the past.
Right. Well, I figured what I would do is pull up the stuff here on the screen with the schedule and all, and this will also be posted on our social media, my social media, and the Drag Driver Pete social media and things like that as well. I see Ryan Hargett saying all Camaros need a coyote swap. Now let's talk about 67. Could a 67 Camaro race in the Gassers deal?
He can. They can. As of I think it was last season, Quayne opened up the gasser. You used to cut in the gasser, but he's opened it up to the Camaros. Nobody has built one yet. Quayne had talked about building one for this season, but he ended up going a different route. But yes, in Superstock you can run them. There is a couple of Camaros in Superstock already. I think 3 actually that run in Superstock already. Cool cars. At Superstock class is carpet in the car. It was supposed to be designed like, you pull your car out of the carport and go race and change the tires and come back home. But, it's got a little fast and a little out of hand on that too. But that's a great class also. We hope to see it continue to grow this year as well.
Yeah, for sure. And so super stock, I mean, those cars look like what I would see at a car show, but then the others, man, golly, this is probably one of my questions about the gasser stuff because I just don't know enough, right? And I want to learn, do they have to have a solid axle swap or can it be like like a lifted front end, I guess? Could you put some taller springs in?
All the gas classes, A, B, and C, the straight axle, the super
Cool.
stock can have the A arms on it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That makes complete sense. Well, again, we were talking before this. This isn't going to be the last time you're on, I promise, because there's so many stories you've got. Because you were talking about road racing motorcycles and winning a championship. Let's talk about some road race motorcycles. But I want you guys to understand something. So it's road race motorcycles championship. We also have championship in gassers. So I would say you're pretty competitive.
Yeah, very competitive. The birthday's just catching up with me, but I'm still pretty competitive on the stuff that I do. But yeah,
Well,
back in the '90s, I used to love motorcycles, and I started road racing in 1990, and then I give it up in 2000. So
wow, that's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna have to bounce for just a minute. Eric, can you take over for a second? I got to run into the house real quick. My wife is battling a migraine, and we're trying to figure out what to do. So I'll be back in a few minutes, or I won't. But I'm gonna let you guys take over. One last thing we definitely gotta hear about is your current fleet of cars. But while you guys talk about that, I'm gonna bounce out for just a
All
second.
right.
All right.
all
All
right,
right.
Eric.
So yeah, kind of let us know what some of those current cars you got in the fleet are.
There's you talking about in my personal fleet or the racing with us?
Your personal fleet.
Well, we got the Camaros. I've got a few 55 Chevrolets, and then I've got a few of the OBS trucks, which is the 88 through 98 Chevrolet trucks. I really like those, the regular cabs. But like I say, I'm trying to dwindle that down a little bit. Racing has took a lot of that away. Back before I got into racing, I used to mess with just a bunch of cars, but I've kind of slowed back on that, and I do real estate for a living, so I stay busy with real estate and that type of stuff. And I do houses too. I buy houses and fix them and flip them. Then I do rentals also. So I keep myself stretched out all the time. So
Yeah. So you
let's
stay pretty
let's see
busy.
how. Yeah, let's see how we keep all this stuff juggled. They say it keeps you young, but I don't know. We'll see how it does.
Well, let's kind of switch the gears there and let's talk about some of the cars that spectators can expect to see at some of these events.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with the A gas. Well, you got Gabriel Burrell who drives a Ford, which is really cool to have the Ford out there. I thinking he is the only Ford there in A gas with us. So he's got a big fan base that follows him. And then you got the Chick Magnet 55, my car. You got Happy Days. You got the NASA Nova. You got Silver Street, Kenneth and the Corvette. I can't name all of them. There's a bunch of them. You got
Yeah.
Rob Walden, who's got the 33 Willis with a 409 fuel injected. I mean, just a beautiful car. Probably one of my favorites out there. But there's just a ton of cars. And that's an A gas, and then you go to B gas, and usually B gas, we've usually got 20 plus cars at each event signed up in B gas. C gas, this first race, there's already, I think, 18 or 19 signed up in C gas. A gas, I think we've got 13, 14, maybe 15 coming in A gas already. So, and we're still, 10 days out. So I'm
Yep.
expecting a few more to trickle in.
Nice. Um, Mike had a note here saying that he's coming down Friday, and he's asking what happens on Friday night.
Friday night will be basically test and tune. That's where you kind of can walk around the pits, talk to everybody, see everybody, hang out with everybody. There'll be tons of people cooking out and just having a good time. A lot of friends and family time goes on then, and that's another thing with the Southeast Gassers. I mean, it's such a family organization. You go out there and race, and you don't like your fellow racer for 5 seconds, but the other 23 hours or something of the day, you love them guys, and I love all of them. And, and it's a big family. And it's just like I was talking about earlier with the Dragon Drive, you get this community and the piece of like, if you was to take off and go across country and, and I got to the other side of Atlanta and say I broke an axle or whatever, I mean, I could make a quick post and I could have 10 people there in 5 minutes, or 10 minutes to try to help. And it's just cool to have that type of following. And everybody, we do try to do it family oriented. There's a lot of kids there that comes and has a good time. So that's a part of the biggest draw to me on that. And the cars are cool and great. Cars come and go. Those relationships and those friendships, they don't come and go. The most important thing that we got is time. So let's make our time count that we got here. And that's the thing that I like about it. It's memories that a lot of people will not get to make if they don't come and join us.
Right. Yeah, it sounds a lot similar to the drag and drive community itself. And I know Mike mentions it all the time. We can pretty much drive anywhere across the country, like you mentioned. And if something happens, there's usually somebody within, a small radius that we know in that area that would be willing to come help us. So sounds like this is kind of similar to that.
It is. Well, and it's not just the gassers. I mean, it's the car community and a whole. The car guys come together. I don't care if it's gassers. I don't care if it's drag and drive or whatever. I mean, it's great just to have that bond with that stuff and keep it rolling too, keep it going. And the amount of revenue that these events bring in for these smaller tracks, we try to stay with a smaller period correct looking track. It gets tough for some time because we've grown so large. It's hard to get all the haulers and stuff in, but it's the setting that it puts for everybody. It's not duplicated. It's just you come out there and you have a good time. And the other thing it is too, you don't have to worry about the cars being roped off and you can't get up and talk to nobody and nobody's speaking to you. I mean, you can come up and set in the cars or whatever. So that's really a big draw. And the thing that I like a whole lot is the smaller kids that comes up.
Yeah.
They want their picture and they want to sit in the car and all that stuff. And I try my best to talk to all of them that I can. I try to do all that I can for them because that's the future of this is going to keep going on. We got to do stuff for the younger kids to get them interested in it and get them off of their iPads and iPhones and all that stuff and get them interested in some of these cars. Because
That's right.
you don't know where don't know where they're gonna be one day.
Y- Yeah. So if people haven't been to one of these gasser events, what are a couple things that the spectators can expect to see at the event?
Well, they can come in and expect to see, a bunch of great cars. It's almost like a car show that you go to a big car show. And the biggest thing, Eric, is just the family atmosphere and how everybody is welcomed. When you walk through that gate, you're all equal. And that's the cool thing that's the draw to me and the relationships that this organization has created over the years. I mean, I don't know all of them. Quayne might know all of them, but there's been a bunch of relationships, a bunch of families, husbands, wives created out of this, kids. I mean, so it just reaches further than just a couple of cars going down the track for 5 seconds. That's
Yeah.
that's what it is. And then there's there's a lot of things to it, Eric. I mean, we do have the backup girls and stuff on Saturday. Somebody just chimed in on that
Yeah.
out there for the spectators to see, but I mean, it's you have to experience it. You have to experience it up close. You have to be there. Yeah, you can stay home and you can watch it on PowerTube TV. Eventually, it's going to be on a delay. It won't be live.
Yeah.
So, which they're going to be doing a series on there. Is what they're going to be doing on that. So, anyway, but there's just you just got to come out. I mean, that's all there is to it to get the full effect. You can't get the burnt rubber smell and the gas fume smell and all that stuff sitting at home.
Yeah, you're not going to get that through Power Tube TV for sure.
Yeah, and
What?
then the other thing too, on Friday nights, a lot of people is really when we're talking about testing and tuning, we're talking about an A gas and B, well, about all of them. They're just a few hundredths apart. So there's guys trying stuff. So you may see some scraping the walls or bouncing off the walls or whatever on Friday nights too. So it's there's a lot of excitement that goes on Friday nights. It goes by quick. To be honest with you, you there and you want to make a couple of test hits. You start at 5 and you look up and it's 10. You're like, what happened? I don't know where the time went, but
Right.
anyway,
Yeah, when I think of gassers, what comes to mind to me is wheelies and banging gears.
that's it. Oh yeah, there'll be plenty of that. That's kind of a given. So I might have been overlooking that or shadowing that down, but that's a given there.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody here says scratch and sniff for Power Tube TV.
Yeah, that's right. We
Yeah, I
might need
don't
to
think
work on that.
yeah, I don't think we're there yet. Somebody else
Yeah.
says world's fastest classic car show too.
Yes. Oh yeah. That is it. I mean, they are, the gassers, for years is like the slow cars. Everybody said, oh, that's the slow cars, but they pretty strong now. They pretty fast now. So and
Yeah.
that's another thing that shocks people when they do come to the races. They just don't understand until they come to a race of how fast they actually are. You
Yeah.
know, they're used to cars running, sevens, an eighth of a mile or eights. They're not used to low fives.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, like I say, B's in the mid fives. So that's getting on with it. And you're talking about some small blocks. I mean, the little stud muffin that I used to own, it had a 287 in it. We would turn that thing 11,000 RPMs, 11.5. We was leaving at that. So, in that
Yeah.
C gas class, that's a critical class because the little engines are so small with no stroke in them, and if you miss a gear in C, you're pretty dead. It's done.
Yeah.
That race is pretty well over with. And A gas, it's a little more forgiving on that side of it, but the cars are such a handful and everything is multiplied because it's so much faster. I mean, being harder to drive, I couldn't pick one over the other one. They're both got their own challenges.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit. You talked about kind of reducing your fleet a little bit, and we talked about first gen Camaros. Tell us a little bit about. You said you've had a number of those. If you want to talk a little bit about some of those that you've owned and how you got to acquire them.
Well, there for a while, Eric, I was just buying about every 67 that I could afford to buy, and this was back in the 2000 to 2010 range. In there, I done a bunch of them, and I was, this is when eBay was big before Marketplace even knew anything about it or Facebook, and I used to buy a bunch of them and sell them, and along with the 55s, and then 66 Chevy twos, and then the 67 Chevy twos, and the Chevelles. And it's just all been Chevrolet. Ain't never really been a big Corvette guy. I've had a couple of the 63s, but anyway, it was mostly those. I've got one now. I actually done the power tour with it last year. We did do that. A little butternut yellow 67 Camaro, and it's not the nicest one I've ever had, but it's probably the one I like more than any of them I've ever had. So I've had it for a long time. For me, I probably had it for 3 or 4 years. I don't ever really keep them that long. Then I got a 67 RSS, this big block 4-speed car. And then I got another just complete basket case that's not even nothing to even speak of. But my yellow car, I'll probably have it. I shouldn't say I'll have it till my toes turn up because you don't never know what might happen. But I'll have it for a long time. And then I got a 55 Chevrolet that my uncle bought in 1962. And I remember it when I was a kid, and every time I seen him, I would ask him about that thing. And my dad and him, they like to go drink a couple of Coca-Colas together at nighttime, back in the day, a case or so. And I used to go down there and we shoot pool and stuff. And I always thought that was the coolest car. It was a red 55. They had the rear bumper off of it. Everybody back then had a Corvette engine in their car. Everybody. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
got a Corvette in it. So come to find out, it really does. And I'll tell you the story on it. So at my daddy's funeral, he was there. And I said he's my uncle. He was actually my daddy's first cousin, but I just called him Uncle Jeff. And I asked him about his old 55, and I said, Jeff, where's your 55? He said, it's over Dad's in the barn. I said, and this was back when the patina stuff, this was in 15, I guess it was. And this is when everybody wanted something patina. And I said, Jeff, why don't you pull that thing out and get it running? He said, oh, it costs too much. And he said, I just don't know that I got it in me to want to do it. I don't want to spend that much money, but I got so many memories in that car. I don't want to get rid of it. So anyway, forward up to 19, January of 19, he always stopped in my office when he would go to Bowling Spring. He'd stop by and just, Jeff stays about 5 minutes everywhere he goes. He just goes in, speaks, and then leaves. Well, he walked in and I thought it was January of 19. And he asked me, he said, Les, can't you get the parts to fix that old 55? I said, yeah, what you want to do? I mean, because he don't do no Facebook or nothing, social media at all. And I thought he was wanting to fix the car up, So I said, yeah, what you need to do? He said, well, I'm just going to let you have it. And I said, how much you want for it? And I ain't going to tell you exact words he said. He said, I'm just going to give it to you. That way you can't complain about it. I cleaned that up for you a little bit. That way you can't complain about the condition of it. So he gave me that car. So I started working on it in 19, but it's kind of got pushed back to the back burner a little bit. But getting back to the Corvette engine, we did pull the engine out, run the numbers as a 1957 Corvette engine. So he was cool back in the day, a black 55 or red inside with a 4-speed with the rear bumper off with a set of chrome slots on it. So, and the hood was shaved on it and the mirrors were shaved off of it. So it's a cool little car. I'm ready. I'll have that car with me till the day I turn my toes up. It's going to be one of those. And then I've got another one that I'll have forever, and it's actually a Super Sport OBS truck. It looks like a 454, but it's an SS 350, which was a Sport 350. And the story on it was, I bought the truck in 97 and it was wrecked. And I told you earlier I used to do some body work, so I actually fixed this truck. And I probably shouldn't say it on here, but I guess it's missing on the EPA won't bother us. But I fixed that truck, just pulled it out in the yard and painted it. And this was in 98. And so in 2000, I ordered a new Chevrolet truck and I went to trade it in. And I was talking to my daddy one night, and my daddy, he was, what you doing with my truck? And I said, well, I'm trading it in. That's my truck, and I'm cleaning this up for you too. That's my truck. You better go get my blank truck. We're going to have issues. So anyway, I called him back and told him, I said, look, I can't trade the truck in. So Dad ended up with it. Well, he kept it from 2000. And then in 2013, he thought it was the baddest thing that ever was. He thought all the women wanted him. Every man wanted to buy it. And so it from like 12, 13, I put like 3 tires on the back of that thing on the driver's side where he would just spin that one tire with that whole whopping 120 horsepower that thing has. And because it had a Flowmaster muffler on it. Well, then when he got bad sick before he passed away, he told me he wanted me to have it back. So I've still got it today, and it won't go nowhere with me. So I parked it. It stayed in one of my storage buildings from 15 when he got sick, and then I pulled it out in 2000 and done a suspension kit on it and got 22s on it and all that stuff. And it's just something that I'll have. But them 2 cars right there, the 55 and that truck, I know I'll have till it's time to go home, whatever day that may be. So.
The bucket list mob here was asking, talk a little bit about the AFX class.
AFX class is, I don't know as much about it as I do the gas classes. Rocky Platt and them's over that, and Sam. But yeah, this is just altered wheelbase. They can run fuel injection. They can run alcohol. Don't know a whole lot about the AFX class this year.
Okay. Gotcha. So I guess we got a couple more things here, and then we'll try to wrap up with you. So with all those vehicles that you've got now, have you ever done a drag and drive, or will we ever see you come out and do a drag and drive?
Well, it's funny that you said that. I had been giving that some consideration, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but I had bought a 55 4-door that I was wanting to turn into a drag and drive car. So don't say never. I don't know if I can get it done because of how much I got going on this year, but we have been talking about that. We are getting the car up and running now. It is a pretty good old car. So I don't know why I wanted a 4-door. I just think it's cool. I think the 4 doors, you could pile your buddies up, and I'm just picturing a roll bar in it, having Brian put the roll bar in it with grab bars for everybody to hold on, something like maybe a 540 to a 600 cubic inch big block with a couple turbos on it. Low compression, something you can drive. It's gonna have to be a stick though. I'm gonna have to have a stick in it somehow. So I got to find something to hold up with a stick.
There you
So
go.
we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, there's 4 doors for drag and drive are good. You either pile more people in or you got more room to bring your stuff with.
Yeah, it is. And there's an old 55. There's something about a 55 Chevy to me. I can't explain the 55 and the 67 Camaro, but those two cars are just something that's, I guess it's because my uncle had that 55 my whole life, and I just thought it was the coolest car in the world. And then the Camaro was my first car that I got when I was 14. I think that's the reason why. So, but anyway, that's my love of those cars.
Yeah. Um, there is a handful of gassers that do run some drag and drive events, so it wouldn't be uncommon to see some out there. Mike did say he had to run here, so he
Okay.
won't be back on tonight. He'll see everybody on Saturday morning, and he said it'd be awesome to see you on an event. And I bet Southeast Street and Yeet would love to have you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I went and watched some of that stuff too. It's pretty cool. I try to go to a lot of the events, especially if they local to me there at Shady Side. Shady Side Dragway is not but about 30 minutes from my house, so I go to those. I mean, you can usually find me up there just about every Sunday evening.
Yeah,
But I try to go to a lot of those too, and just keep keep following us, everybody. Keep liking. Go to our YouTube channel. Like it, subscribe. Subscribe to these guys. You can follow me on the SEGA 55 Chevy Chick Magnet Racing. I try to post a good bit of videos and stuff on there when I've got them. It's time consuming to put all that stuff on there, as you know, Eric. It takes a lot
yeah,
of time to try to do this, but I just do Facebook mostly. I do have a YouTube channel that I'm working on a little bit, but I hadn't put forth a whole lot of effort in that. But it's just been amazing at the outpouring that we've had already this year for the Southeast Gasser Association, and I'm thinking it's going to be one of the biggest years ever. I mean, I'm just excited about it. I'm excited to have some of the sponsors we've got. We've got some. I'm sitting here looking at your stuff across the bottom of the screen, and that's all the same people that we've got. We've got Summit, we got Molly Pistons, Power Tube TV, G Force transmissions. Larice Motorsports Insurance, mortgage options. They do mortgages for homes, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and Georgia. I'm not going to sit here and name all of them. We've got a list of about 30 of them here. Ram
yeah,
Clutch. I mean, it just goes on and on. And we're just so thankful to have them, because without those guys, it's hard for us to do what we do. And if we don't have the spectators in the seats, that it's hard for us to do what we do. And we have to look at that stuff too when we go to some of these tracks year after year. If we go to tracks year after year and you don't have the spectator count, it's hard for our guys to drive to these places and run for 1,000 people or 800 people, and it gets the morale of the drivers down. So we have to kind of keep an eye on that of what's going on with that. And so I know some of these people get aggravated when we go to one and then we don't go back the next year, but that's what it is. Yeah, in DH Media, I seen somebody posted that on there. DH Media, he does a great job doing our videos and stuff, and posted on Southeast Gassers Facebook page too. So follow that if you can. But
yeah. Well, hopefully with Mike coming on board with this, and I'll probably be helping out here and there, mostly be Mike, but hopefully we can get some crossover here, and maybe we can get some more people in and checking out your guys' stuff as well.
yeah, I think that'll be great. I think there's already been, like you say, some crossover. I think there'll be more. The more that we can put drag racing out there on the map, the better it is for everybody in the business. So that's kind of what it's all about anyway, just keeping it alive.
Yep, absolutely. Well, it's been great talking to you. Do you want to let everybody know where they can follow you and follow the Southeast Gasser Association?
Well, mine's right here on the screen right here. Sega 55 Chevy Chick Magnet Racing. Also, we got Southeast Gassers. We got SoutheastGasserAssociation.com. We got Southeast Gasser YouTube. We're not hard to find. So you just type in Southeast Gassers. You can do that, and they ain't too many 55 Chevrolets that anybody calls Chick Magnet out there either. So that's pretty easy to find.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us tonight.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Tell Mike I hope his wife's okay, and we hope to talk to y'all soon.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. See you, buddy. Bye.
See ya. All right, so we got a couple more things, and then we're gonna bring on Stony here. So we're gonna do a quick ad read for Molly Motorsports. Then we'll do our Found on Racing Junk segment, and then I will bring him on, and we'll talk about naturally aspirated stuff. So. Molly Motorsports, attention high performance enthusiasts and sportsman class racers. Meet the Molly Motorsports Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for Power Pack performance. The Power Pack pistons are made from either 4032 aluminum alloy to allow for tighter cylinder to wall clearances and improved temperature stability, or 2618 alloy to allow for increased detonation resistance. Tailored for various engine families from small block Chevy to Volkswagen and Audi, they've got you covered. What sets them apart? It's forged pistons, graphite coating, and phosphate treatment for peaked performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsports, where performance meets precision. Unleash the power within. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. Again, Molly is spelled Mahle. So thanks to the Molly team for being a part of everything we do here. And then we're going to jump in, and I've got a couple vehicles here for the Found on Racing Junk segment. Again, we do not host a buy, sell, trade page on Facebook or anything. So we use Racing Junk for everything there. So let me pull these up real quick. We got... All right, here we go. So with the theme having the Southeast Gassers Association on tonight, we kind of went with a gasser theme. So here we've got a 55 Chevy 210 series, $45,000. This one's in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, which isn't too far from me. Tons of pictures here. One thing I thought was pretty cool about this one, it's a rust-free street strip car most of its life. It's a 355 roller motor, turbo 400, gear vendors and overdrive. So obviously that's great for a drag and drive event. But I thought this was cool here. The dash is autographed by Hot Rod Magazine editor. So pretty cool thing there. So you can kind of scroll through, see some of these pictures. So again, kind of going with that gasser theme for tonight. I think there was a picture of the autograph dash in here somewhere. I know I seen that earlier. There we go. You kind of see that autograph up there on the dash. Couldn't see it clear enough to actually see what the name on it was there. But that's the first one for tonight. The second one, again, sticking with that theme, we've got a 55 Chevy straight axle gasser. This one's 54.9. This one is in Downers Grove, Illinois, again, close to me. 55 Chevy vintage straight axle gasser, 283 4-speed, tilt nose, fender well headers, solid, no rust, California built car with period parts. So street legal with title. So when I saw this one kind of reminded me of the chick magnet that we were just talking about. So decided to throw that one in here as well. And then the last one is a 63 Chevy 2 Gasser Nova for $38,000. This one's in Sussex, Wisconsin. Only one photo here, but do love the Nova 2, the Gasser style look. 63 Gasser Nova, way too much to list. Straight axle front end, Dana 60 rear end, 411, 10-foot Skyjacker chute, TH400 trans brake, reverse valve body, 489 blown big block Chevy, 671 blower. So again, lots of cool stuff, especially when you start looking at the gasser stuff in racing junk. There's a ton of stuff out there. So you get bored, check out racing junk. Again, you'll spend hours on there looking through stuff. All right. So if John's ready, give me a thumbs up and I'll get you pulled up here. Let's see here. Ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and pull you up. All right. How we doing?
Good. How are you guys?
I am good.
Or how are you, Eric?
Yeah. I'm
Sorry, Mike
good.
he had to cut out on us. I texted him, check on him. So he said that
Yep.
just pulled in the hospital. So
Okay, perfect. Well, hopefully
yep,
everything goes good there. I'm sure
yep,
he I know he was watching or listening a little bit here because he was commenting, but um so it looks like we're gonna kind of talk about some NA stuff again. You were on a few weeks ago, and this is gonna be an ongoing segment. So
yeah.
for those that didn't see the last segment, kind of tell everybody who you are and then a little bit about what we talked about the last segment, and then we can kind of get into tonight's topic.
All right. I'm Jonathan Stonecipher. I'm a Rocky Mountain Race Week and circuit veteran. I've also done drag week, but I don't know if doing it once makes you a veteran or not. So, well, whatever there. Just pretty much been an NA guy as far as my drag and drive experience. I am taking a different combo this year to the circuit race, but we'll get into that another time. Michael had I seen you start sweating when he was going to bail. He kind of gave me an outline of where to stay because I'm bad about wanting to chase the rabbit. So,
Perfect. So,
um,
what kind of did you cover on the last episode when you were on
uh,
with us?
basically last time we just talked about different cars and combos and just basically how things had progressed over the years and like a lot of times we talk about how much quicker the cars have got and then uh one of the things that me and Michael touched on was the combos. There's guys running NA combos that are in other classes other than just NA. Like we just touched on like Greg Jones's car. He's been a long time 12.0 index racer, and he's run a LS1 in his car, and then now it's got a LS7 in it for the last 3 races, and it's
Gotcha.
yep. And his car actually would probably be fairly competitive in a small block, but he enjoys the 12.0 index. He just that's what he likes to race, so that's
Yeah,
what he does. It's it's just what he enjoys. So yep.
gotcha. So it looks like here tonight we're going to talk on kind of budget for building a 12-second NA build. So why don't you kind of let us know where you would kind of start with that?
Well, that's a funny thing. So there's lots of places you could start. Like I'm actually doing a car that's going to be really similar to that right now, but it's not really what I call a budget build because I wanted something that's comfortable. I did enter Rocky Mountain Race Week this year, and I entered in a small block. But the car I'm taking is probably not going to be competitive, but it will be probably a mid 11-second car, and it's a 2012 SS Camaro, and it's basically just going to be cam headers exhaust uh, LS3 and I'm
Gotcha.
actually I bought the car as a roller, so I'm building a motor myself to do that with. And basically, if a guy's wanting to do an NA combo, if you've already got a car and you've already got a motor, use what you have. You know,
Yeah,
don't don't you can do a car that's competitive for a lot less money. Like my Nova is really the car's over the top, and I've had just stuff that I threw together in it for a motor. I've never
yeah,
really had I've never really had a purpose built motor. We've used stuff that we had. I had the car fits the class, and then we had the motor, an NA motor that we used in local racing, which we touched on running the stock block shootout stuff here local, and that series had kind of went away and I just pulled the motor out of the car and had it sitting here. So we put it in the Nova to do Rocky Mountain Race Week with, and I've I've not been real successful. Most of it is my fault because I cut myself too short on time and everything else, you know.
yeah.
Um, I did the circuit race last year. I also used that same motor in my 4-door Malibu and did the circuit race, and you know you can use the same motor. I had it in a Trans Am, which we run in the stock block deal, and the car is a 1070 car. I pulled it out and put it in a Nova, which is quite a bit lighter, and we ran 1040s with it. And then I pulled it out and put it in a Malibu, and I put a road gear in it. I mean, closer to road gear than what we run in the Nova for trying to make quick passes. And the car still runs 11 teens, and it could probably dip into the tens with a little work. So,
Nice.
you know, and I've used that motor over and over again, but you know, it just depends on what you have. If you have small block stuff, use small block stuff. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And if you're a Ford guy,
Right.
you use what you have. You don't. Most of it is find somebody that is really good with the camshaft stuff and with your combo, and don't be afraid to ask people. Hey, what are you doing here? Go to some knowledgeable people to get help, because that's what we all do. So
Right. So if somebody's got a car and they've got a motor and they're looking to kind of get to that 12-second NA,
mhm.
what are some things that they should start upgrading on that engine to kind of push them towards that 12-second?
Just basically, I'll be honest with you. If you've got around 400 horsepower, you've got plenty of motor. You need to work on your car. Like,
Yeah.
put good shocks on it. Put the right gear in it. Have somebody, one of the guys at one of the converter places, build you a converter, because that stuff is actually more important than making power. You know, my
Okay.
my car, I've been 1040s with 485 rear wheel power. So you know, but the car is well sorted out because we've run it in several different things. It's
Yeah.
it's actually more important to have a well sorted out combo than it is to spend a bunch of money on things you don't need.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good advice. So, my first thought was going to the engine, getting
Yeah,
cam and headers and stuff, but that's great because you're bringing up stuff that maybe others don't think about either. Like that didn't come to my mind at first, converter, shocks, rear end, some of that stuff I hadn't even thought about because I'm thinking strictly engine stuff.
you. I mean, there's different people have different ways to do things. You know, there's guys have big motors and have cars that work, and then there's guys that buying parts the easiest. Yeah, that is the easiest part. Uh, then there's guys that have chassis that make them work, and that's I already had my car, and I'd had it for 20 years, so I just wasn't looking to change cars. So the car, I made it fit what I was doing, and it's more about making everything work together than it is about you know the old traditional thought of, if you can make 600 horsepower, and you can make more than 600 horsepower. I'll just be honest with you. I've had a combo that made 850 at the flywheel, and it ran slower than my 550 horse motor, but because I had the wrong gear, the wrong converter. At that time, the shock length was wrong. It was just everything that you could do wrong. It's more about sorting out what you have and doing the best with what you have than spending a bunch of money on things. Like,
Yeah.
Greg's car had went with the LS1 combo in his car. It had been some. That kind of defeats NA, Scott.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought.
But that's all right though. But Greg's car, it's well sorted out, and as you guys know, he's done a bunch of Rocky Mountain Race Weeks with it, and even with a LS1 with the camshaft and a 4L80 in the car, his car went some mid to low 11s, and then he backed
Wow.
it up to run. He backed it up to run in the 12.0 index, because that's what he wanted to run, and he's also placed in 13.0 index in the same car. So
Yeah.
and it and that's where you get into a deal with doing what we do with Rocky Mountain Race Week or Race Week or the circuit or the different tracks that you go to. You have a 5, 6, 7,000 foot elevation change between where we normally race at and Bandamere and Pueblo and some of the other places. So my first time doing Race Week, I took a car that ran 12 O's here, and I take it, and the car runs 1240s and 1250s, and so I had to
Yeah.
back up and run 13.0. But that was my first time being out away from home, and you'll learn quick. We've figured out since then that depending on the NA car and how sorted out it is, a lot of times they lose 6 to 7 tenths between where we test at home and up in the mountains. But with that being said, those guys that come from up there down here to race, they if they do the tuning to make the change, they gain that. So,
Right.
if your home track is Bandamere, and you have a 10.0 in a small block or big block car, you come down here, you're gonna be a 9 second car. You know,
Yeah. And that's kind of, I hadn't thought about that until you mentioned it, but when you start talking turbo and nitrous,
Yeah.
it's easy to gain that back. You add a little more boost or add a little more nitrous, and you can kind of get
Yep.
back to that down to that 12s if you're running 1240. But with an NA, I mean, is there anything you can do to kind of get that closer, or is it just slow it
No,
down and run that next
bas-
class?
basically what we've had to do is slow it down and run the next class. But like I was talking about with the Greg's car is probably capable of close running bottom tens, maybe into the nines on the right day. But we run 12.0 index with it, so he dials the car back. And if you can go online and watch the videos of the car, and you can hear it. The car is not doing anything to run 12.0s.
Yeah.
We've actually made some pulls on the street, passing people that we run the car harder than going down the track.
Yeah. And for drag and drive, obviously that's kind of maybe a better plan because you want that car to last. So,
Oh yeah,
we always talk about running it on, the edge. You're gonna tear something
yeah,
up quite a bit quicker. So even if you do have more power, slowing it down,
right,
most people might say that's not as fun as going wide out. But with some of these index classes, that's kind of the name of the game is slow it down a little bit and save on your car. You're still gonna have tons of fun doing it.
absolutely. And that's like what you was talking about there. Like running in a small block instead of running index class, I my car actually picks up a bunch by pulling the exhaust off. So, and that's the bad thing about it is pulling it off and putting it on every day. It's a pain. You know,
Yeah.
we had a problem in 21 at 2.0. Uh, I was in a hurry and I just grabbed some bolts at the hardware store and they were stainless and they galded and I had to take a grinder and cut the bolts off to yes, purchase a good alternator. Actually, if you're doing that, you can just buy a pulley from Motion and slow the alternator down. So
Yeah.
I got that issue fixed because like the combo in my car right now, it's a 6 liter with LS3 heads and a custom cam, and I turn it 81 8200, and that's just more than what a stock alternator can do. So I just went online and did the math and ordered a pulley from Motion, and I've actually fixed that issue since then. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, and
That's
that
kind of
comes
cool.
back, but that comes back to not being rushed and having time to sort your car out. You know, guys, I'm the worst, but I'll tell you the best advice I can give you: have your car ready before race time and go get some passes in it, put some street
Yeah.
miles on it, and take some time to drive it because you'll find all those little things. You need to find all those little things before you're beside the road in Colorado or Texas or Missouri or Iowa, trying to
Yeah.
fix those things. You know, just
Yeah.
and I know that's the opposite of what we see from all the drag and drive guys. You see the last minute thrash of everybody trying to get ready, but that's the best advice I can give. So
Yeah, but we talk about it all the time on here, like Jay and Brian, the longer you have your car and you're
absolutely,
not doing that thrashing, you
yeah,
can do little improvements and make your life easier in the long run. You don't got to build a new car every year.
no, and I'm the worst about that. I've actually I was thinking about today the Dragon drives. I've used 5 different cars, and
Oh, really?
I've only had 2 cars that I've used twice at Dragon Drive.
Wow. Danny here said that way you don't spend the night in a horse trailer.
It wasn't a horse trailer, but it was close.
Nice. So kind of going back, I was thinking here a little bit about this 12-0 thing, and
Yeah,
so when I put my Fox body together, it was Junkyard LS, a 6 liter, 200,000 miles, and it went into the Fox body. Now, granted, the Fox body is gutted and it's pretty light, but I started thinking there was nothing done to that engine. So running NA, and I was in the 13s when I first took it out, and that was my first time driving it. So had
yeah,
I had a little more seat time in it, had
yeah.
I had a little more road miles on it, a stock LS in a Fox body, you probably can get to that 12.0
Oh, you
NA pretty easy.
there's some guys doing that. Nico Cristofari's got one that he's doing, and it's got nitrous on it, but I don't know that they've sprayed it much yet. But I think that car's been in the 12s, pretty
Yeah.
solid NA. And you could even like I think you could do a Fox body with a 5.3 and a little more gear and the right cam. And if I was doing that, I'd probably actually, I know everybody's going to hate this, but I'd probably use a 4L60 because
Yeah.
that 306 first gear makes a big difference on an NA small motor. We
Yeah.
we I went through that back in 15. I was running an NA class, and we had a 700 R4 in a car because it's what was in the car when we got it. And I actually went faster with the 700 R4 running the 60 foot than I did with the turbo 350. We just had
Yeah.
run into reliability issues, and then I went to a turbo 400, and I went from like running a 370 gear all the way to running a 456 gear to get the 60 foot time back. So,
Oh wow.
but then again, okay, so like doing a drag and drive, a turbo 400 with 456 gear is not near as drivable as a you know 700 or 4L60 with a 370 or 390 gear.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, in the Fox body, it's got I think it's a 355 rear gear,
yeah,
and it's a TH350.
yeah,
So and to be honest, that's the stuff that I need to learn more about because you talk about getting the right gearing and transmission stuff. But when I was building it, even though I ran it NA at the time, I was building it for twin turbo. So kind of did a little
yeah.
research, and 355 seemed like the way to go at the time. I think I've got I don't remember what the other ones are. I think maybe 373s I also have at the house too.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably get in the 12s with that, but like if you really want to try to go fast with that, a 355 gear is not really the gear that you'd want to go with. I mean, like
For an NA setup.
for an NA setup. I mean, like
Yeah.
I've run the the lightest gear I've run for doing drag and drive stuff is like a 390, and
Yeah.
that's we've had always more gear than that in the car. So um and the Trans Am that I took in 2018 on Rocky Mountain Race Week, we brought that car back, and it changed owners, and I put my 6 liter in it. It belonged to another friend of mine at the time, and we went that car when I did race week. The car was a 12.0 car before we left, but I ran 13.0 because it wouldn't run 12.0 at at the level we were racing at. So I come back, and we ran the car with a 373 gear and turbo 400 my motor in it, and the car went like, I think we went some 1160s or something with it, and I broke the 10 bolt right away. So we put a 9 inch in it and put a 430 gear in it, and bam, we had a 1070 car. I mean, it
Yeah.
changed. Going that gear change made that much difference in that car, and most of it was in the 60 foot,
Wow.
because whatever you gain in the 60 foot, you can usually multiply down track.
Yeah.
And with the NA car, like what you were saying before, I can't jet it up or turn the boost up or anything. So whatever you can gain in the 60 foot and make the car physically work better is going to be better all the way around.
Yeah, because essentially the only thing you got to work with is suspension at that point,
Yeah, it
if
is.
that's not dialed in already.
Yep. Suspension and tire pressure and torque converter. Torque converters are the magic to an NA car.
Yeah.
That's why I'd say if you're doing that, find you a torque converter guy that you can work with. There's really lots of good torque converter guys out there. Dan Palmerini, those guys are great. They've spec several converters for us. I've used PTC, I've used JW. There's that in an NA combo, the torque converter and the rear gear is probably the most important things. They're more important than any of the other little motor pieces. Physically,
Yeah.
if you can keep the pistons and rods inside the motor, just turn the P diddle out of it.
There you go.
So,
Uh, you said 4L60s and you
yeah,
got Howie's ears perked up.
yeah,
Howie's got the Performa built
Performer built.
4L60E in the wagon, so he said love the 60s.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the things that people have really shorted themselves on. I think that a 4L60, and I've been one of the worst about trying to go away from them, because what we were doing before, we I, we couldn't have the transmission out of the car every week. I needed something that was going to be in there, and we weren't spending the kind of money to have a good transmission at that time that we should have had. You take a basic 400 with a couple pieces in it, and they just last forever. The
Yeah.
4L60 needs a little more care than that to keep from stripping the input splines out and stuff like that. And then I also think that a converter is probably more critical on those than some of the other stuff, because you need to have something if you're going to use the lockup and all that stuff. It just needs to be spec'd for your combo, not the old thing of ordering a 3500 stall. Well, 3500 may not be what you need, because what does 3500 behind my 6 liter? It won't do but 2500 behind a 350, but then behind
Yeah.
my big block that I had in the Malibu, it may do 4500. So that's where you need to have a converter spec for your combo. Just spend the money and do it. It's money well spent.
There you go. We've got probably 5 or so more minutes here. We want
Yeah.
to try to keep it about 2 hours. What else we want to talk about here regarding some NA stuff?
We've kind of covered, most of it is, you know, use what you have. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, if you got a 5.3, use it. Have the heads ported. Get a custom cam done for that combo. Get a torque converter and the gear that'll make that combo fast. If you got a 6 liter, the same. If you got old school small block, same. If you're doing a big block Chevy, Pontiac, big block Ford, small block Ford, just spend the money on the stuff that's important, and make your car the best you can make it. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I
you
think
can't.
you've made a lot of good points with don't worry about the engine, worry about
Right.
getting the car ready. You got your suspension, get your rear gear, get your torque converter, then
Yeah.
start worrying about some of that engine stuff.
Yeah. Because basically all the motors got to do is stay together. I mean,
Yeah.
it needs to run, but you can't go fast without the right pieces backing it up. And I this is from experience. I've been there, had big horsepower, had the car, and Billy, uh, I would love to do that. The bad thing about it is what I'd want to do. I'd probably want a Liberty, because the RPMs and stuff I'd like to turn. That has been a thought that crossed my mind. I would actually like to do that. It's just not been in the budget with what I've been doing. So
Have you ran any manual trans NA stuff?
yeah, but it was just local stuff, and I wouldn't even say it was fast stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like 12-second cars and a little faster. I've drove, we did lots of street racing back in the day, and I've drove lots of stick cars, and I actually have a Z06 Corvette that I rip a lot, you know, and it's broke now because of the way I drive it. So
Gotcha. All right. Anything else we want to talk about here? Brandy said she's coming for the slow award. Yeah,
all
yes,
right,
we didn't talk about that. You're sponsoring the award at the circuit for the
yeah,
slowest ET that just got
yeah,
posted up today.
yeah. So I started this several years back with Rocky Mountain Race Week. Um, Everybody does the best they can do. They do the most they can do. The guys sometimes that don't finish or run last, they put as much effort into that as the guys that are winning. It's
Or
the
more.
or more. And I started doing a trophy for the slowest NA car, big block and small block class. We did the turtles, and my friend John Gilman, he's won 2 turtles. He's a 2-time turtle winner. And I told Michael, I said, I really feel like I want to do something at his race too. And we really don't have a class split like that, so I just did slowest average overall. Instead of the turtle, I did a snail. So and the
There we
thing
go.
about it is, and Brandy and Aaron, I know that you guys are coming for that, but I know a guy building a car to do this class, and then I know Pat Cook is bringing a slow bike also that he plans to, you know, I'm going to say she better be ready to run some above 20 passes to win that this year, because
Oh boy.
I have one guy, he wants to win a consistency with a 25. He wants to run a 25-second quarter mile
Every
consistently.
day.
every day. So, and
So how do
I
you go
know.
about building something to do that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. The my shop here that I bought, I purchased a place in 2019, and my uncle owned this place. And when I bought it, there was 60 cars on this place, and there was an old pickup sitting out back that me and my cousin let my son have, and we got to tinkering with it and found out that the engine had frozen bust, and the motor started and sound good and everything, but the side of the block is cracked, and I've had it sitting back here in the corner because I just hate to throw it away. And my friend Jimmy Baker that owns the S10 that I'll be driving at the circuit race, um, he come to me. There you go, Aaron. He come to me and said, "Hey, do you have a motor I can put in my El Camino to try to run this slowest thing?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've got one." I said, "But we're gonna have to JB weld the side of the block." And he goes, "No problem." So it's actually we pulled this thing out of the corner, and it's just an old greasy, nasty motor. That's right, Nick, Team NA. Uh, we just pulled this thing out, and he's sticking it in his El Camino, and this El Camino is actually his first car, and he's actually owned it since the early '80s. And
Oh wow.
he's yep, and I've been on him for the last couple of years, dude. Hey, get your El Camino running, get it running. And then he's been plugging away on it. And then I took him the motor last week, and he's already got the motor ready set in the car. And like this car's been it was a basket case. It's been setting for probably 15 plus years. So he's actually got it on the lift. He changed the rear end in it. He put disc brakes on it. He's working on wiring right now. He's got the motor ready to set in it, and he eventually this is what he plans on building his drag and drive car out of. But he wants the slowest trophy. So I'm going to say between Brandy and Pat and Jimmy, it's going to be tough to get it. There going to be some guys competing for it.
So what was JB welded up on this block then?
Oh, it's actually the side of the block is cracked. It froze and bust. Like
Okay.
like down where the hole is at the bottom, where you drain the water out during the winter.
Yeah.
It's the block is split there. It's got a crack that's about 7 inches long on it.
Oh,
So
holy cow.
I've done some questionable stuff with junk that we had just because we wanted to go racing or wanted to drive something stupid, and we've taken and just ground it out and JB welded it, and then probably may end up putting some water glass in it just to make it hold. And if it finishes the race, he's actually the last day he's talking about spraying the thing and just seeing what it'll take. But
Oh man.
yeah, but it's pretty much a junk 350 that he wants to just get his car going. Just I can't help but think about the thing the guys have always said in the last couple of years. It don't have to be right, just get it going.
Yeah.
And
This is
and
that
there's so many
case.
times I missed a race last year because of family and personal situation that I just couldn't get the car ready. And had I just not tried to make the car perfect and I just got it running, we could have made it. And then, same
Yeah.
thing in 21, I what they're talking about with the alternator deal. I struggled that year because I put fuel injection on the car and I did a serious weight loss. I lost 150 pounds out of the car, changed the fuel injection and stuff, and I actually finished the car in the pit at Oklahoma City. And then I was the last car down the track that day and finally got the car to make a pass. But then the alternator went out right after that, and then I had a fiasco with cutting the I'd had to cut I run extensions on the exhaust to make the O2 sensor read, and I had to cut those off, and the bolts scalded, and I spent 2.5 hours with the grinder under the car trying to cut the bolts off in the pits. And
Wow.
that's the whole thing of being completely unprepared. And it was, I've got a string of somehow I've got a string of do not finishes now, DNFs, and that's not ever what I wanted to be known for. That's
Right.
I'd rather be known for, at least he finished the race. I don't care if it's 72nd place out of,
Right.
71 cars. I just want to finish, you know.
Yeah. So has that JB welded engine, has it fired up yet?
We've run the motor, but not run it with the JB Weld. But I've done that multiple times before. It'll be fine. It'll
Yeah,
be
we've
okay.
we have a LS block sitting here that's same thing. So it's
Yeah.
on the towards the bottom of the block. It's cracked. Shot a rod out of the oil pan.
Yeah.
Barely cracked the side of the block. So we JB welded it back together. So there's a video on my YouTube channel. We called it Project Hold My Beer, but we've got it on an engine stand and we fired it up and let it run and
Hey,
seems fine.
put it in the car.
Yeah.
My dad ran an automotive machine shop for years, and we'd bought a forklift one time that had kicked the rod out the side of it, and had a Continental 4-cylinder in it, and put a sleeve in it, of course, crank and a rod and a piston, and then the whole side of the block was JB welded in that, and we used that forklift around the house for we used it at least 10 or 12 years before Dad sold it, and he sold it to a local steel company, and up until the point they closed the steel company, they were still using that forklift. So
Wow.
guys, don't be afraid to be a little sketchy.
Yeah, we were thought about building a burnout car with it, but we're like, that might be a little bit rough.
Nah, just do it. It'll be fine.
So then we need a chassis. We've got a motor sitting around. We need a chassis to put it in.
Okay, what do you want?
Just about anything. We'll put an LS in anything.
I got an S10 sitting here. I'll talk to the guy that owns it. That'd be perfect for a burnout car.
Oh yeah. Now we're talking. So you're
Yeah.
telling me when I come down to the circuit, I need to bring a trailer with me
Bring
to
a
come
trailer.
back with some?
Yep, bring a trailer.
All right. Well, I think we're a little bit past our 2 hours here, so I'm gonna let you go, and then I'm gonna close out the show. But let everybody know where they can follow you, and if they got any questions, where they should reach out to.
Okay. Basically, you can just find me on Facebook. I don't really do any of the other forms of social media. You can just find me there. It's Jonathan Stonecipher or Gas Chamber Nova or Stonecipher Family Racing. I got 3 pages there, and you can reach me on any one of those and PM me or anything. And I'm always available to talk NA stuff. So.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. This
Yep.
is going to be a continued segment, so we'll see you again in the near future.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Eric.
All right. Yep. Thanks. See ya.
See you later.
All right. So we're going to get ready to end the show here. So one thing that we were going to talk about before Mike had to take off, and if you're listening, hope everything's still going well. We do have another big announcement. Obviously, one big announcement tonight was that Mike was going to be joining the Southeast Gassers Association, and part of that PowerTube TV deal, he will be hosting some of those shows. But we do have another big announcement coming. I don't know exactly when it's going to be. It looks like we might try to do it on our next episode next Wednesday night. But this is going to be huge news, possibly the biggest news in Drag and Drive history. So guys, make sure you're sticking around next week to check that out. And again, thanks to all of our race car friends. Without you guys, we can't do this. You guys make this possible. And also thanks to our sponsors, Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains 3D, Performer Built Transmission, Howard's Cams, Sweet Patina, Racing Junk, and newly PowerTube TV, guys. You can check out all of these episodes over on PowerTube TV. We will see you guys on Saturday morning.